Hey guys, Miss Shelley here. All right, we're going to move on to our next lesson, which is drawing geometric figures. So let's first start our lesson by doing a little review. We're going to talk about quadrilaterals today. That's a fun word to say. Quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals are four-sided shapes. So, some examples could be rectangles, squares, rhombuses, parallelograms, kites. Some things that are not, these are not quadrilaterals, would be a triangle because a triangle has three sides. A circle because a circle has no sides. So, those are two examples of things that are not quadrilaterals. A stop sign, that's another example that is not a quadrilateral because it has 8 sides. So today we're going to be reviewing four-sided shapes. Let's first start by talking about rectangles. We all like rectangles. Rectangles have, let me change my pen color so you can see, 4 right angles. What that means is these two angles come together right here and that makes 90 degrees. So it has 4 of them in all 4 corners. There is 90 degrees. Also, the opposite sides are equal. So this would be equal, this side would be equal. Now, to show how the other sides are going to be equal, I'm going to draw 2 lines. And I'm going to draw 2 lines on the other side. That shows that the 2 sides with 1 lines are equal and the 2 sides with 2 lines are equal. All right, so let's move on and let's talk about squares. Yay, squares. All right, so squares have, again, 4 right angles because they come together and make mini little squares, and that will give us 90 degrees. So 4 right angles. Also, oh, that's kind of off. Also, squares have 4 equal sides. So we know that all the sides of a square are equal. They're the same numbers. Easy peasy so far, right guys? All right, let's talk about one of my next favorite shapes. I love this shape. I really love to say the name, parallelogram. Parallelogram. A parallelogram has 2 pairs of parallel sides. Remember, hopefully you've talked about this in the past. Parallel sides are 2 lines that never, ever, ever intersect. They never meet up. All right? They just go continuously and never meet up. So, to show that you have parallel lines, what you draw is you draw these little arrows. So 1 arrow down up at the top and 1 arrow at the bottom. That tells me that those 2 lines are parallel lines. They are never going to intersect. Now, it says that there's 2 pairs. My other 2 sides are also parallel lines that are never going to intersect. They're never going to come together, and I'm going to show that those are parallel and they don't intersect by drawing 2 arrows. So just like how we did with the rectangle, 1 arrow means that those 2 sides are parallel. 2 arrows means those 2 sides would be parallel to each other. Now, in a parallelogram, opposite sides are equal, just like a rectangle. So the top is going to be the same number as the bottom, and the 2 sides are going to be the same number as each other. We'll show that the top and the bottom are equal by putting 1 line, and we'll show that the 2 sides are the same number by putting 2 lines. All right, so now let's go and let's talk about a rhombus. So a rhombus looks very similar to a square, except it's turned a little. A rhombus is a parallelogram. So remember, a parallelogram means 2 pairs of parallel lines and opposite sides are equal. So a rhombus, that means the same thing. So I'm going to show that this line and this line are parallel. So those 2 lines are never going to meet. They're never going to intersect each other. And I'm going to show that the other two sides are parallel from each other by drawing two arrows, because those two sides are lines are never going to meet. Now, the difference between a rhombus and a parallelogram is a rhombus has opposite sides are equal right here. However, a rhombus has four equal, oh, that was bad. Sorry, guys. Has four equal sides. So that means that all of the sides are the exact same number, just like with the square. All right, let's keep on moving and let's move on to our next shape, which is a trapezoid. A trapezoid, our two sides are parallel. So if we look here, we have lines at the top and bottom, and then our two sidelines. Now our two sidelines, those are not going to be our parallel lines, because if those lines can keep going, they're eventually going to intersect and kind of look like a triangle. So that means that our two sides that are parallel is our top. Ooh, that was rough. Let me try that one more time. Our top and our bottom. So our top and our bottom are our two parallels. All right, let's move on to a kite. Oh, a kite's so fun. We can put like a little string here, put a little ribbon. All right, okay, moving on. So a kite has two pairs of adjacent sides of the same length. Now, if we look at this, we can kind of see here where it looks almost like it is broken up in half. So that would almost give us two triangles that we put together. So since we put those two triangles together, our top two lines must be equal to each other, the same numbers, and our bottom two lines are going to be equal to each other. And we can kind of just tell this by looking at this object. We can tell looking at it that the top two lines are about the same size and the bottom two lines have to be the same size. All right, so two pairs of adjacent sides have the same length. So let's look at some examples. What quadrilaterals can you draw that have exactly 4 right angles? Okay, so let's go back to what we've done. Let's think. Now, there were only 2 shapes that we talked about having right angles. And we want to talk about those that have 4. So what 2 shapes did we talk about that had 4 right angles? We talked about a square and a rectangle. So what quadrilaterals can you draw that have exactly 4 right angles? A square and a rectangle. Not too bad, right, guys? All right, so let's move on and let's talk about the next problem. What quadrilateral can you draw that has exactly 1 pair of parallel lines? Well, hopefully you took notes over our shapes and you can go back and look. But we only talked about 1 shape that has exactly 1 pair of parallel lines. And that shape, a trapezoid. Because remember, in a trapezoid, the top line and the bottom lines are parallel. All right, so let's move on and let's talk about this problem. A 4-sided sandbox has more than 2 right angles. It has 2 side lengths of 2 feet and 2 side lengths of 5 feet. Which geometric shape best describes the shape of the sandbox? All right, so when I solved this problem, honestly, what I did was I drew a picture to figure it out. So I know that one side tells me that 2 side lengths of 2 feet. So that means that I'm going to have 2 sides. Those 2 are going to be 2. And I'm going to have 2 side lengths of 5. So if I connect those and get 5, connect those and get 5, what shape is that? It is a rectangle. Good. Y'all are crushing this lesson. I just know it. All right, let's take it up 1 notch and let's talk about what quadrilateral can you draw that have 2 side lengths of 9 units and 2 side lengths of 4 units. All right, think about it. Remember, it can be more than one quadrilateral. So just like I did last time, I'm just going to draw a little picture. So let's see. I have 2 sides of 9. I have 2 sides of 4. So what shape does that give me? It gives me a rectangle. All right, so now remember, I need to go back through what we talked about in the beginning of the lesson. I need to think, were there any more shapes out there that have 2 matching side lengths? All right, well, let's see. Let's think about this one. I can also draw it like my sandbox like this. What shape was that? A parallelogram. My handwriting on that one was awful. All right, was there any more shapes out there where I had 2 sides that were the same and 2 sides that were the same? Ooh, hopefully you remember this one. All right, don't judge my drawing, guys. I'm doing the best I can. What shape is that? A kite. So what quadrilateral can you draw that have 2 side lengths of 9 and 2 side lengths of 4? You could draw a parallelogram, a rectangle, or even a kite. All right, let's move on and talk about our last problem. Make a sketch that shows 2 square tables arranged to form one rectangle table. How many people can sit at this table? All right, well, I've actually given us 6 square tables, so we actually only need to look at 2. So I'm gonna all right, actually, let's change that. Sorry, guys. That's a typo. It shouldn't say 2. It should, Michelle, you had to reread that one for a second. That it actually should say 6. So let's show our 6 square tables arranged to form one rectangular table, okay? So I need to form a rectangle. Now, I can't keep my tables like they are right here in our picture, can I? Because that's not forming one rectangle table. That has open space here in the middle and spaces here on the sides. So I need to redo this so all of my squares are together. So let's draw one on my desk here. I'll draw another desk next to it. Draw another desk. Oh, well, I don't know what I was doing there. Draw another desk next to, man. Draw another desk next to that. So there's 1 desk, 2 desks, 3 desks. I still have 3 more desks. So let's draw another desk, and another desk. So I've now taken my 6 square tables and arranged them to form one rectangular table. Now, it wants to know how many people can sit at this new table. Well, my desks are already attached to my table, so all I need to do is count my chairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, how many people can sit at my newly formed rectangular table? 6. All right, guys, so when you're doing this lesson, that is all that you have to do. If you did not take notes over the shapes, I recommend going back and taking notes over how many sides are equal. Maybe even draw the pictures like how I drew them here in the beginning with our kites, and I put what sides are equal, because all of the rest of your problems today are going to be very similar to the ones that we did here together, where it's going to ask you to draw shapes and combine shapes if you need to, but knowing the equal sides and the sides that are parallel to each other is going to come crucial. So if you did not, I recommend going back, taking notes over the first part of this video. So now hop right on back over to Teams and complete today's assignment. Please remember, guys, I miss you so so much. I hope you're doing good. Reach out to me if you have any problems. You do not have to wait until Wednesdays for office hours. If you have problems now, please reach out to me and we will meet anytime. All right, guys, I miss you.